Hello everybody and welcome back to another quick adventure mode tutorial. In this video we're going to be covering fast travel. While of course it can be fun to follow these pathways and run into random people in the wild, and then pretend to be a highway robber and beat them up and take their stuff, definitely all for pretend reasons of course, it is much more efficient to use fast travel. Now fast travel does use food and water resources, so make sure you watch my tutorial on food and water. To open up fast travel, hit capital T on the keyboard, or alternatively click on the minimap button. That gives you this kind of overview screen. This overview screen is currently where we happen to be. We are inside of a dwarven hillock, which is where we started. If you would like to stop fast traveling, you can click this button, which will take you back down to where you were, or drop you down to a new location. If you wish to sneak while in the overworld and be less likely to be ambushed, keep in mind you only really need to do these in high threat regions, areas which are untamed wilds, or areas that are very hunted or very joyous, like good aligned biomes. Places where you're likely to be attacked, or of course near a necromancer tower, something along those lines. It uses more resources and makes you move slower and makes time pass quicker. However, it is not that big of a deal if you don't do that. Just be aware you may get ambushed, sort of like a JRPG. If you wish to view the map mode, which lets you zoom out a little bit further and gives you this pretty little overlay and gives you an idea of areas that your character is unaware of and hasn't explored yet, that is also a button that you can press. That can be found by pressing M on the keyboard or by clicking on the map button. Here, this button, the capital Z key on the keyboard, or sleep or wait a while, the campfire option, lets you select the amount of time you wish to sleep or wait. You cannot do this inside of a settled location unless you've asked permission, so keep that in mind. The reason you would want to wait is if you're waiting for somebody to return, or somebody to arrive, or something to move, or you're waiting for a mega beast to come back to its home. You may also be wanting to wait so that you can get over an injury, or an infection, or a sickness. Sleeping, of course, does help you heal quicker and can be useful, but be careful where you sleep. If you sleep somewhere where there happens to be giant grizzlies, you might get ambushed. Keep in mind, sleeping for long periods of time or waiting for long periods of time will make you either drowsy or hungry and thirsty, so make sure that you have ample water and food supplies. The next option is the cloud view. I personally really like the cloud view, although currently I'm not actually seeing any clouds. Clouds show up on the screen, and I will walk until I find some. Now we've moved a little bit further away, we can actually see some cloud cover south of us. So what this essentially shows is it shows where it's raining. As you fast travel down towards the clouds, simply by moving on the mini-map, when you drop down in these regions, it'll be pouring rain, meaning your character will get covered in water and be upset. When you fast travel outside of neutral zones, the game zooms out a bit. When you fast travel into neutral or hostile zones as well, when you're standing outside of a settlement or civilized area, the game zooms out a little bit like this. When you move towards it, the game then zooms in. You can then see roads and fields surrounding the location. And of course, if you actually go over top of a zone with population in it, if the area is on your side or a member of your civilization, or small areas that are passable, it'll actually give you a notification up here of what that location is. So this is a hillock, basically a surface place that dwarves live in that is full of a small number of populace. Over here, as we kind of move through, you'll see other things. Castle mound, drinking mound, and another hillock. If we move into an area that is not owned by our civilization, like this human town down here, if I try to actually move through the populated region, it's not going to let me, because it's not a member of my faction. So even though I'm tapping the down button here or clicking on it, it will not let me move through it. However, there are public places such as this tavern right here, the Bright Call, I can fast travel right up to it. Another screen that you can use here is the toggle track view. Now what this would do if it was currently implemented, which it's not at the point of recording in the beta, this would put an overlay on the screen that would show tracks. When you hover over those tracks, it'll say approximately what type of creature that is. When you then move to that region and drop down, it makes hunting a lot easier. Over here on the left side is the quest log, and that also hasn't come into the beta yet. However, when I get access to that, that deserves its own video, but just note that there is a button there for that. Another thing that's currently a work in progress in the beta is down here. This is the name of the location that we currently are in, and of course, the owner of the location. So keep in mind that's going to get its own little UI element in the near future, possibly by the time you're watching this video. Now that we're on the overworld, we can simply click to move around. Now, because we are moving a rather fast distance, or a rather large distance in a rather short period of time, our character is going to get thirsty and hungry, and of course I will have a video on that subject as well. You'll notice down here there's a rather large river. Now, large rivers cannot be forded by adventurers. I need to go to a bridge. So if I would like to cross this river, I would then need to move all the way down to here, crossing this smaller river, and then cross using the bridge. Or alternatively, drop down out of the fast travel screen and walk all the way up to the edge and attempt to swim. However, that may not be a very good idea. As you can see right here, it's, well, rather wide. If you are near to an obstacle like this river, as an example, when you go to fast travel, the game will tell you that you need to move away from the river so you can fast travel. This goes for most settlement types, any hostile situations, or alternatively, mountains, which can't be fast traveled across. I'll run over to one of those and I will explain what that means in a moment. It's not too difficult to get back into fast traveling if you're stuck near an obstacle or an object. Simply move away from the river and then fast travel. Similar to combat. If you're stuck in a combat situation, you can't just fast travel out of it. I've now walked over to these mountains, and as you can see, it's not letting me fast travel over top of the mountains. Now this is because in order to move across mountains, I have to drop down out of fast travel and then simply begin walking. Might as well ride our horse here while we're at it. Now this can take a rather long time. However, it is an intentional limitation. One of the reasons you can't fast travel over mountains is food and drink is rather scarce, making it a rather, something just scared my horse, making it a rather difficult adventure to go on at times. That being said, I do recommend walking around mountains if you wish things to be more efficient for your time, but not necessarily for your resources. Players also can't settle on mountains, so this makes it kind of an interesting thing to explore in adventure mode, especially when you find the nests of the great dragons or the great creatures of the upper mountain layers. And my horse keeps getting spooked by something, so I'm not even able to actually walk across right now. I'm going to dismount. Once you are in an area like this, you of course can't fast travel out of it, so you must manually leave. One of the easier ways to do this is simply by holding down a direction on the keyboard. Just keep in mind that if you hold down the direction on a keyboard and you do run into something mean, it may rip your leg off while you're running past it. And that pretty much covers fast traveling. It's a pretty simple subject, but it does have a few nuances to it. One of the final things I would like to note about fast traveling is when you fast travel into a populated region, note that if you go underground, you cannot fast travel out of it. This is particularly noteworthy when it comes to dwarven fortresses, which can be quite maze-like and hard to get around in. But you can still check on the map to see where you are. The final thing I would like to note is up at the top of the screen, that little icon moving across the top, which is likely a currently beta feature that will probably be changed at some point towards Fortress mode, which is likely something that's going to be changed at some point as we near the full release of Adventure mode. But as you can see, this is a thing that changes in color periodically. It just changed for cloud cover because we were under clouds, and also is going to change again, as you can see the winds are coming in as well. Also are going to change again when it starts to get dark. When the sun starts to go down, it's going to go red briefly, and then we're going to move into the night period of the day-night cycle. So as you can see, the sun is now gone, meaning the sun is now setting, and we are moving into nighttime. Which means it's probably best that we head home and do not die outside. But if we wish to rest, we can simply hit capital Z and then wait until dawn. And our character will sleep until necessary, until dawn. When the light bar at the top gets bright red, it means it is now time to wake up and the dawn has arrived. Thank you very much for watching this video about fast travel. If you would like to see more videos about adventure mode, check out this YouTube channel. I have a growing playlist that is getting ever larger, helping you learn how to play this game to the best of your abilities. If you have any questions, jump into my Twitch streams at twitch.tv/BLINDIRL. I may even be live when you watch this. Thank you for watching.